Now I'd like to recognize our next member, gentleman from California, Mr. Valadao. You're on for 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Napolitano, Ranking Member Rouser, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you very much for this opportunity to advocate for my requests for the Water Resources Development Act of 2022. I'm glad to see the committee is planning to stay on the 2-year track with WRDA legislation. Improving projects, processes, and access to water is crucial, especially in districts like mine. Even though many of the federal assets in my district and across California are managed by the Bureau of Reclamation, there are still opportunities in WRDA bills to help the Central Valley. I'd like to start by discussing my request to include my legislation, the Renew Win Act, in the base bill. This legislation was actually first enacted in the WRDA bill of 2016, which was ultimately signed into law as the Win Act. According to a study from the UC Merced, the drought directly cost the agriculture economy in California $1.1 billion, 8,750 jobs last year. The Central Valley desperately needs water, and this no-cost clean extension of the operations and storage provision in the WIN Act is an important step to ensure a reliable water supply for our communities. Specifically, the bill extends through 2031 the authority of the Bureau of Reclamation to provide support for federal or state-led water storage projects in certain western states. It also extends provisions specific to California, including drought relief and the operations of the Central Valley Project, which is a hydropower and water management project in California that is operated by the Bureau of Reclamation. Further, the bill extends through 2036 consultation requirements concerning biological assessments and the coordinated operations of the Central Valley Project and the State Water Project in California. My next request is about the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Big Dry Creek Reservoir and the Fancher Creek Reservoir in Fresno County. The project was originally designed to help the San Joaquin Valley region with flood control. The language submitted to you would provide the Army Corps with authority for temporary storage of water, which is much needed in our region. Groundwater basins in the San Joaquin Valley have long suffered from critical overdraft. Prolonged drought, like what we are currently facing, has enhanced the need for additional water storage in the region. Reoperation of the Red Bank and Fancher Creeks project would greatly help the area by temporarily storing and redistributing the water for recharge to better balance groundwater levels for our communities and economy. This project will provide the necessary evaluation and improvements to reoperate reservoirs within the Red Bank and the Fancher Creeks project, primarily the Dry Creek Reservoir. Reoperation will allow for the holding of stormwater into spring and summer for the later release in the region's extensive system of groundwater recharge basins. The ability to capture, store, and effectively use these flows is critical to the region's efforts to balance water use and long-term water sustainability. Repetitive and often severe drought experienced by the Fresno-Clovis regions calls for this water supply resiliency afforded by maximizing the storage of surface water. The project will serve as a conservation pool for short-term storage of available surface waters up to 15,000 acre-feet and will be used for downstream beneficial uses, primarily direct and indirect recharge within the critically overdrafted groundwater basin. This project will help meet the water needs of our communities, which are mainly disadvantaged. Finally, I would like to highlight my final request that would amend the Army Corps project purpose to include water supply. Given the increasing frequency of periods of excess water and excess drought as a result of extreme weather conditions, this additional authority would help to utilize and maximize storage capacity to serve the beneficial uses in California. This is a cost-effective way to prepare for drought emergencies and increase climate resiliencies. The provision provides the Secretary with more flexibility in how they are able to adapt to future climate scenarios. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity to highlight the importance of my WRDA requests. I hope you will seriously consider the inclusion of these requests in the base bill. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Valadao, for your testimony, and it'll be considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next witness, the next member, and probably the last, is the gentleman